I want to tell you guys a story. The story I'm going to tell you isn't a personal experience. It's a story that was told to me by a friend, and it was something he experienced. But to understand the story, first I have to tell you a little bit about my friend and I. My friend and I used to play a lot of card games. From Star Wars to Dragon Ball Z to Overpower to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't that for kids?
Yes, these games are marketed towards children, but you'd be surprised how much fun they are and how much intellect it takes to play these games. These games have the unique aspect of simultaneously being both complicated and simple at the same time. Just try reading a Yu-Gi-Oh! Instruction booklet and you'll understand what I mean. Now when you play these games, you find that the general consensual use the same type of strategy. You get the most rare and expensive cards. Yes, these cards actually have money value. You can purchase individual cards as opposed to packs, and singles can cost anywhere from 10 cents to $100 depending on the rarity of the card and how popular the game was. Most people would buy singles of the rare cards and play them in their decks because the rarer the card, the more powerful it was. My friend and I, we didn't play like that. We wouldn't spend 50 to $100 to get one card. We might buy a case of card packs for those prices, and we would play with what we pulled from the packs. Not only didn't we have money to waste like that, but we were never into following the masses. What made the games fun for us was doing things that they never thought of doing or told us that we couldn't do. I remember when I was heavy into D&D, someone told me, and most of you won't get this reference, but it's okay, you don't have to get the point. Someone told me that my barbarian would never be more than mediocre because I made him full human instead of half orc with a spiked bowling chain, which everyone was doing at the time, and because I made him intelligent instead of putting all his points in strength. Granted, he wasn't no genius, he wasn't going to be a scroll scholar or anything, but at least he could read. And don't you know that my barbarian became better than his because he can do more in an adventure than just plow through walls, but he also became well known coast to coast through word of mouth. This story is about Star Trek CCG, and this is how the game is played. Before the game starts, each player takes turn putting down planets. They then put down dilemma cards, which are tasks that need to be fulfilled before they can complete the planet's mission. You can also put artifact cards under the planet, which you get to keep and use if you complete the planet's mission. Once the game starts, each player takes turns putting down starships, filling the crew, flying from planet to planet, and beaming down attempting to accomplish the missions. If they successfully make it through all the dilemmas on the planet and meet the mission's criteria, they get the points in the corner. First person to reach 100 points wins. There are a few more rules and it's a little more to that, but that's the basic explanation, and that's all you really need to know to understand this story. So my friend goes to this Star Trek CCG tournament, and he's paired up with this sloppy, overweight, nasally guy with thick glasses. And it's always some sloppy, overweight guy. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's the only time they can feel superior. Anyway, my friend is matched up with this guy in a 60-minute time limit match. So this guy pulls out his deck. Hold on. Let me explain something here. All CCGs have a minimum deck size. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 40, but usually it's 60. As I stated earlier, when a game is active, because usually the creative team runs out of ideas and the game dies due to nothing new coming out, these cards actually have money value. Because of this, people want to protect them. So they would purchase these protective plastics made specifically for CCGs. They were hard enough to protect your cards, but soft enough that you can still play with them. This asshole was using those hard baseball plastics. Not only that, but he had an 80 card deck. So rather than having a deck that looks like this, his deck looked like this. So he pulls out these stack of bricks and he's fumbling around trying to shuffle them. He has to shuffle them in 3 different piles and shit. Keep in mind, like I said, this is a 30-minute time limit match. While shuffling, he looks at my friend and says, "Are you intimidated by my deck?" And my friend is like, "What?" And the guy's like, "Most people are intimidated by my deck because of how big it is." And my friend is confused because he's not sure if the guy is hitting on him and this is some kind of sexual innuendo. The guy's like, "Do you play with blah 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 super card that doubles all the stats of your crew members?" No. Well, you should. All the top players use it. And let me tell you something about these top players and these so-called top decks. CCGs have these nationwide tournaments, and the winner would get their name in a magazine or website or whatever. What these guys would do is they buy all these super rare cards, fly to all these different tournaments, win, and then get their names in the magazines over and over again. What this means is it's not about who has the top decks, but who has the most wins. So I could beat some guy in my regional and you would never hear about me because I can't travel to all the other tournaments. So when you think about it, these top guys don't really have the top decks. It's just the guys with the most money. Well, I don't play with that card, but thanks for telling me what's in your deck, asshole. Bet you can't cut it. It's okay. You can touch it. I want you to touch it. Judge. So after 10 minutes of shuffling his Tupperware, he says to my friend, "So I have this so-and-so card that allows me to go through my deck and pull out another card." So he starts looking through his 3 stacks for the card, pulls it out, which is a card that allows him to search for another card. So he goes through his stack again, pulls out that card, which allows him to pull out 2 more cards, and my friend looks at him. I'm sorry. So my friend says to him, "Dude, if you knew you had to pull out all these cards before the game started, why didn't you just set them all aside and save us both the headache? It's a tournament." After 20 minutes of this guy's bullshit, they finally start playing the game. In an epic battle of wits. Now, the guy is doing his thing, breezing through missions while my friend is getting frustrated, getting stopped at every turn. Eventually, my friend pulls these 2 cards. These 2 are very common cards. I mean, very, very common cards. So basically, everyone who plays the game has them. The first card he pulled is an interrupt card called Temporal Rift. Interrupt cards are cards you can play anytime during the game. It doesn't matter whose turn it is or what's going on. All a player has to do is say interrupt, play the card, and whatever's written on the card happens. What Temporal Rift did was make your ship disappear for 2 full turns. The other card was an event card called Plasma Fire. Event cards can only be played on your turn, and what Plasma Fire did was cause any ship to be damaged every turn unless you have security on it. Now, starships can only take damage twice. The first time you turn the card sideways, the second time it's destroyed. Of course, after the first time, you can always get your ship repaired by going to a space station. Like I said, everyone has these cards, but no one used them because they're stall tactics. They weren't meant to do anything but slow your opponent down, unless you're smart. And my friend is very, very smart. So the guy beams his team down to the planet, and it's my friend's turn. I play an event card, Plasma Fire. You should take damage every turn unless you have security present. Where's your security? Oh, he's on the planet. Your ship takes damage. You play with that card? Nobody plays with that card. Well, I do. That's a stupid card. I'm just gonna beam up my crew and fly to a space station. No, you're not. Interrupt. Temporal Rift. The ship is out of play for 2 turns. So what? I still get it back. No, you don't. What do you mean? Simple. Your ship takes damage from the plasma fire. Then it goes into the temporal rift. Then, at the end of your second turn, it comes back, takes damage from the plasma fire because it's still there, and blows up. I forfeit. What do you mean? Just play on the ship. That was my only ship. Judge? So there's 2 lessons to be taken away from this story. Well, 3 actually. 1, there's no such thing as a useless card. You just have to look at it from a different angle. 2, think outside the box. You'd be surprised what you come up with. And 3, don't be a dick, because sooner or later, someone's going to make you look like an ass.